Notice there are still plenty of empty royal blue seats because the train strike, and in particular the district line, is affected towards Wimbledon, I think from Earl's Court. So I'm told that the traffic congestion is quite bad in the vicinity of Stamford Bridge, as Chelsea in the sunshine take to the field, and it's a much changed Chelsea side as well, with 7 alterations from the team that beat Milan in midweek. But once again, Kepa is in goal. The 4 players who retain their place, as well as Kepa, the other 3 are Koulibaly, Loftus-Cheek and Mason Mount. So Arrizabalaga is in goal. A back 4 of Azpilicueta, Trevor Chalobah, Koulibaly and Cucurella. Gallagher, Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek, Pulisic, Mount and Kai Havertz is the Chelsea side. And for Wolverhampton Wanderers, under Steve Davis and James Collins, who are the caretaker duo, Jose Sarr is in goal. Interesting to how they line up. We think it might be Semedo, Kilman and Toti Gomez, with Traore and Johnny as the wing-backs, Mateus, Moutinho, Guedes, Podence and Diego Costa, but we'll wait and see as the Wolves players now have Chelsea coming to shake their hands. They've made 3 changes. Toti for Aït-Nouri, Costa of course starting for the first time for the suspended Neves. He's accumulated 5 yellow cards, although still banned is Collins, the second of a 3-match ban, and Traore coming in for Neto. Pedro Neto, you've got a feel for him. You might recall he fractured a kneecap last season. He only made 13 appearances, and he now has an ankle injury that requires an operation that will mean that the Portuguese international will miss the forthcoming World Cup. There is a huge banner which the 2 sets of players have been standing behind. No room for racism. The Premier League matches this weekend and next dedicated for that initiative, and once again the players will be taking the knee ahead of kick-off. Let's get the thoughts of Pat Nevin.
Yeah, interesting game today with Chelsea making so many changes. Very intriguing to see Diego Costa. I mean, it's a big interest here, and he's up against, a fairly inexperienced couple of centre-backs there in Chalobah and Koulibaly. I expect fireworks in that area of the pitch today. In fact, I would be shocked if there's anything else, and hoping for an open game. Not a lot of goals usually scored in Wolves games for or against. Hopefully a few more today.
Well, Simon Hooper is the referee. He's just blown his whistle to call the players to the edge of the centre circle as they now pose for the photo.
The Chelsea fans all shouting Diego, 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 and Diego Costa gave them a lot of applause, and now he's going to make them hate him.
Had a terrific record here when he was at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. 52 goals in 89 appearances. He was 7th on the list of Chelsea's top scorers in the Premier League, although he actually did score against Atletico Madrid on his last Stamford Bridge appearance in that Champions League semi-final 8 years ago. So Chelsea in their royal blue shirts, royal blue shorts and white socks. Wolves, of course, in their gold colours, the black shorts. They're just forming a little bit of a huddle at the moment, and then before the game gets underway, we are expecting on the first whistle for the players to take the knee. It's something that will be happening across the Premier League games this weekend and also next, as Chelsea are looking to continue with their unbeaten run. And there it is, the players taking the knee to highlight the fight against all forms of discrimination, and warmly applauded by the supporters inside Stamford Bridge. And the message is quite clear: no room for racism. As we're underway, you're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, the usual goal service as well on a Saturday afternoon. We've got our featured reporters here, there and everywhere, as Chelsea are playing from left to right, and it's with Koulibaly to Chalobah, one of the 7 changes coming in, of course, for the injured Wesley Fofana, which was an interesting fact that was posed on Beat the Commentator with Patrick Kielty every Saturday morning 9 till 11, that Wesley Fofana actually cost more than the average price rise for the most expensive street in London, Kensington Palace Gardens. Speaking of the rich and wealthy, John Hunt, here's the racing.
And the Dewhurst Stakes reaching its conclusion here in at Newmarket. Chaldean's made all of the running, still just in front, pressed here by Nostrum in the centre of the track, and Royal Scotsman coming home strongly. Chaldean out narrowly in front here. Chaldean has won the Dewhurst Stakes, beating Royal Scotsman with, back in third place, Nostrum. What an up and down day literally it's been for Frankie Dettori in the saddle. He started the day with a nasty fall. Here an hour later he's won his third Dewhurst Stakes. Chaldean the winner of the Dewhurst, for trainer Andrew Balding, who will no doubt, Ian, have classic aspirations for next year.
Well, that is good news for Frankie. Thank you, John. We'll be back with you for the next race at 20-4, the Cesarovic, as you haven't really missed anything whilst you've been away. Chelsea, though, are attacking now. Mason Mount, right-hand side of the penalty area to Gallagher. Gallagher falling backwards, right-footed, just pulls it wide. So it goes out for a goal kick. Good chance at Manchester City, Maz Faruqi.
Good chance first for Mahrez and then for Foden on the rebound, Ian, and with Haaland loitering as well in the background. City on top in the early stages, still goalless.
Thank you, Maz. Bournemouth, Leicester City, Newcastle, Brentford, the other games at 3 o'clock. Pat.
Too much space there in that Wolves defence. Chelsea have had a couple of half chances there. That was a decent opportunity for Gallagher there, getting a start alongside Mount. Mentioned that before, and I think a lot of Chelsea fans are very intrigued to see how those two work together, but a little bit too much space in that back line for Wolves.
Wolves are attacking with Johnny, carries the ball over the halfway line. Graham Potter down below, shielding the sun from his eyes, very casually dressed, the new Chelsea manager, formerly of course at Brighton, which was we're heading of course after Sports Report at 5:30 with Alistair Bruce-Ball and Tony Pulis. Interesting to see the dynamic of that commentary duo later on, because they've been playing golf this morning on what looked like a glorious day for golf. In fact, my cabbie Terry's toying with having a round this afternoon. However, when I asked Tony who won between Ali Bruce-Ball and Tony, he didn't give me the answer, so we'll have to wait and see whether they're still on talking terms at 5:30. Into the Championship, a goal at Carrow Road, Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1, Preston North End 0. This is a great bit of work by Josh Sargent, who robs the defender of the ball, goes past one, jinks in and drills the ball past the goalkeeper. Norwich 1, Preston North End 0.
That's the first goal that Preston have conceded away from home this season. Before today, unbeaten and yet to concede. That, though, has changed for a Norwich City side managed by Dean Smith, who'll be a guest on the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman from 7. Barnsley 0, Exeter 1 is the latest score in League One. And there's been a goal also in the Championship at Stoke-Leigh-Blakeman.
Stoke 1, Sheffield United 0. Ball in from the right, and there was defender Ben Wilmot, unmarked, back post, drilled it into the roof of the net. Upset on the card. Stoke 1, Sheffield United 0.
Wolves have a free kick near side the left, playing from right to left as we look. And it's going to be Geddes to take it, in it goes. And it was flicked on, actually, the near side of the 6-yard box by Podence, and it went wide.
Yeah, a real surprise for Chelsea. We were ready for the attacking defenders to come up, but also for Diego Costa to get a chance to go and attack something, but they played it near post, caught Chelsea by surprise there. Podence was unlucky.
Since Wolverhampton Wanderers returned to the Premier League in 2018, Chelsea have dropped 8 points from winning positions against them. They have been a little bit of a bogey side, as making the 7 changes. Were you expecting as many from Graham Potter, with obviously Milan in midweek?
I would generally not expect it, but the way Graham Potter started his time at Chelsea, he's got 9 games this month, and I think by the end of this month he's going to know what everyone can do in every single position. So lots and lots of changes for every game.
Well, the Wolves supporters are in excellent voice. Sheffield Wednesday leading Cheltenham by 1-0 at Hillsborough, 1-0. Rangers lead St Mirren by 1-0. We'll try and bring you news of that goal as well, after Celtic earlier at McDermott Park beat St Johnstone with a late goal to go 5 points clear after a 2-1 success. As the ball goes back to Kepa, all in green away towards our left-hand side, digs it out quite well to the bushy-head Cucurella, controls the ball on that left-hand side, and he passes the ball forward. Birmingham City are leading Bristol City by a 1-0 at St Andrews. Bristol City without a win in 4, and Grimsby Town, who are yet to win at home in League 2, are leading Crawley by a 0-0. We'll go to Rangers now. Conor McLaughlin.
Rangers 1, St Mirren 0. It was Borna Barisic with a long-range shot. That was parried, but Antonio Cholak was there to knock it home. His 12th goal of the season. Rangers are off and running. Rangers 1, St Mirren 0.
It's Pulisic who's attacking for Chelsea. Plays it back to Jorginho along the ground. Mount turns, lays it off to Cucurella, crosses deep, high, laid off by Azpilicueta, and then caught by Jose Sarr. Still 0-0. Derby County are leading Port Vale by a 0-0. We'll go to St James's Park. Tom Gale.
0-0 between Newcastle and Brentford, Ian, but the first strike of the game coming from the home side. Miguel Almiron, no doubt inspired by that wonder strike last week. Right hand side of the penalty area, cuts in on his left. Excellent high post save from David Raya. Newcastle 0, Brentford 0.
He's away. Traore slips it on the outside to Diego Costa, who waits. He pulls it back, and arriving now just in towards the penalty area was Mateus, who just couldn't really get a hold of it, and it's been picked up by Kepa. Pat Nevin.
It's a really surprisingly open game. You know, with Wolves, you expect them to be more defensive. Obviously, the new management in place, we're going to see some changes. They're playing a very, very attack-minded, almost like a diamond in midfield in the back four. Lots of space for Chelsea to break into, but very similar for Wolves. It'll be a surprise if this one's 0-0.
Here is Cucurella to Chalobah. Newport 0, Rochdale 1, Walsall 1, Wimbledon 0. Two latest scores in League 2. Millwall are leading Middlesbrough by a 0-0. Middlesbrough, who are yet to win away from home. Leo Perkovic is in caretaker charge. Azpilicueta, little touch by Gallagher. Loftus-Cheek, and Chelsea breaks down. And was there a foul on Podence? The referee says no. Gallagher away on the right-hand side with the cutback. Havertz with a turn. And as he spins, he hits it left-footed. Couldn't keep it down. Goal kick 0-0.
Gallagher has caught the eye very early on. That energy level that we're talking about there alongside Mount, they're giving a lot of help there to Kai Havertz. And they do look at the dynamic partnership when they're up there together, those three. Not seen a lot of Pulisic, who's the other forward so far, but lots of little half chances inside the box. Shame for Havertz there, couldn't quite keep it on target.
Let's go to Bournemouth, shall we? Jonathan Overend.
Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0, but the home side should be in front. Ryan Christie through one-on-one after a mistake by James Justin, but he was spooked as the goal got closer. He dawdled and ended up tripping over the ball. 0-0.
Koulibaly steps forward after the back heel from Podence didn't quite come off. Chelsea with Koulibaly now to Havertz, flicks it on the inside. Mount. Wolves have plenty of gold shirts back there. Podence now tries to release Diego Costa. Chalobah there was to cut it out, and now it's with Azpilicueta on this near side, the right. Short diagonal ball infield, finds the fair-haired Gallagher, lays it off. Loftus-Cheek comes forward. Havertz gets a little touch. Back with Gallagher once again. Wolves have got plenty of those gold shirts back behind the ball. Azpilicueta looking to link up with Mason Mount now. Still 0-0. We've been playing for 9 minutes. Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood 0 is the latest score in League One. Here is Chalobah. You were here, of course, in midweek against the Milan game. This was a key feature, wasn't it? The way that they just lay it off very quickly, keep the ball zipping around.
Yeah, it's nice little flicks and 1-2s, but yeah, understanding where your teammates are, you know, they're working that all the time, and it's a little adaptation, well spotted, that Graham Potter has actually made with the Chelsea team.
Still 0-0 here, but there's been now a goal at Bournemouth. Jonathan.
Leicester take the lead. Cross from the right-hand side. Daka got up with a header. It was only half cleared. Ball came back in, and there was Patson Daka. Recall for Jamie Vardy today to close it out and finish well left-footed. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1.
Bill Foley, the new potential owner for Bournemouth, hoping that takeover will be completed by the end of the month. He's in attendance there at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 0, Leicester City 1. The first goal in the Premier League this afternoon. Brighton against Tottenham. Commentary to come after Sports Report here on 5 Live, 5:30. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service wherever you are in the world. Good afternoon, always a pleasure to have your company. It's Chelsea 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 in our commentary game as Colchester United are leading Harrogate Town. Harrogate without a win in 9. That's in League 2. Colchester 1, Harrogate 0. And it's with Wolves over on that far side. And this is with Mateus, who looks to turn and passes the ball to Toti Gomes, who a Portuguese defender they signed from Estoril back in 2020. Only his 6th appearance for the club, his first actually of the season here today. Goal at St James's Park, Tom Gale.
Where the home fines were drowned into silence here. Newcastle 0, Brentford 1. It's an innocuous ball down the middle. Tony looks to be offside, he lets it run, and it's Buemo who lashes home with his left peg. Somehow Pope gets a finger to it, but it's back of the net. Newcastle 0, Brentford 1.
I don't know about you, Pat, the biggest surprise today is that Erling Haaland hasn't scored. We've been playing for 10 minutes.
Yeah, what's going on? Is he injured? But yeah, early goals going in, and that always leads to sort of better, more interesting games, and both away teams scoring as well. So interesting times. We'll see if the awakened team can score here. The last 5 or so minutes, we've not seen a great deal for Wolves, have we? The game has calmed down. The pace of it's calmed down a little bit as well, but I suspect that won't last long.
Haaland's flying. I'll tell you who else is flying. Stevenage. They've won all 8 at home, and Steve Evans' side are now leading Swindon by 1-0 as they look to try and extend that winning run at Broadhall Way to 9. And elsewhere, it's Blackpool who are leading Watford by 1-0 in the Championship. Blackpool, without a win in 4, are leading there at Bloomfield Road. 0-0 though here in the Premier League, and it's with Cucurella. Over the halfway line he comes, out towards that far side to Pulisic. A rare start for Pulisic. In fact, it's only his 2nd start of the season. He's been forced to come off the bench to try and make an impression. He's been quite quiet so far. He
has been, and most of the stuff has come down the right-hand side, which is not uncommon for Chelsea, particularly when Reece James is playing. He isn't playing today, but there's a good understanding of the right-hand side with Mount going over there, sort of linking up well with Gallagher. But I think what Pulisic could do with his Cucurella to go a little bit further forward and start working with him and give him some service. It's the oldest one in the book. If you're a wide player, you're quite dependent on service.
The familiar voice of Pat Nevin here at Stamford Bridge, where it remains 0-0. What's happening at Newcastle, Tom?
We're back to 0-0 here. Newcastle 0, Brentford 0. Ivan Toney, I said he dummied the ball. Well, actually, VAR had a look. It clipped off him. He came from an offside position despite running through to Mbeumo, who finished. So the goal's cancelled out. Newcastle 0, Brentford 0.
Must have been a lengthy wait for you there for VAR to get involved, Tom.
He's gone.
But they got it right. They got it right. Oh, you take me out.
Yeah. Here is Chalobah to Azpilicueta.
I'm not taking you out.
I didn't take you out either. I'm not in control of that. Got enough going on a Saturday afternoon. Here is Mount out towards that far side with Pulisic now. Does the little step over, goes towards the byline, overruns it. Crewe 0, Gillingham 1 is the latest score in League 2.
Pulisic's an interesting one, isn't he? You mentioned him there, he's quite quiet. Got the ball there and did the right thing. Asked the question of the defender. Went to the byline, just overhit it slightly, and for him, these are big moments. We tend to forget how important a player he is for the USA, and it's big for them. The World Cup coming up, they've got quite a difficult group, I believe.
Swansea Sunderland goal, Laura Kenyon.
Swansea 1, Sunderland 0. Ollie Cooper with the shot deflected off the Sunderland defence. That sold out away end. Well, it's very quiet now. Swansea 1, Sunderland 0.
Yeah, I think Laura would agree with you that it is a difficult group, Pat.
Strange one. With Wales and Iran, somebody else.
Yeah, who is that? 4 World Cups, and in fact already underway. The first of the 4 World Cups between now and Christmas. It started this morning, the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. England running in 14 tries to beat Fiji 84-19. Tomorrow from 5:30 in the morning, it's Wales against Scotland on Sports Extra. And I think we're just over 40 odd days now between it all starting in Qatar. Comprehensive coverage, of course, on 5 Live. Azpilicueta chests the ball on the inside of Johnny. Gallagher got the ball stuck underneath his feet. Mateus turns into trouble. Gallagher helps Chelsea win it back. Azpilicueta lets it run out of play for a throw. Wigan 0, Cardiff City 1 is the latest score in the Championship, and Chelsea win a corner kick. Pat Nevin.
Very Potter-esque thing has just happened there. Chelsea started with 4 at back, very clearly 4 at the back. They've changed it now. They've gone to a 3 at the back. Cucurella's left centre back. You then have Azpilicueta moving on to right attacking wing back with Chalobah and Koulibaly and Cucurella being the 3 centre backs. It's caused a problem for Wolves. They've not reacted to it, hence getting in better positions in this corner kick.
So Gallagher just momentarily having to shield the sun from his eyes. Corner kick, this near side the right. Now the left arm is aloft. It's a stuttering run up. It's right-footed. It's an away swinger headed out by Moutinho for Wolves. Traore tries to roll away from Cucurella. Traore holds on to the ball, then gives it away straight to Jorginho, passes the ball out to the right. And now it's with Azpilicueta. Loftus-Cheek joins the attack. Azpilicueta, Chelsea still threatening just outside the penalty area. Gallagher sends over the cross. Totti is there to head the ball away, and it goes out of play for a throw. We'll go to Maz Farouki at Manchester City.
Still goalless, but Haaland has had the ball in the back of the net as he's fed in from the left. He's slotted into the bottom left-hand corner. He was offside, but he's knocking on the door. City 0, Southampton 0.
Jorginho with a shot, good save by Sarr. Chelsea still threatening, Gallagher can't turn, breaks out towards Havertz right hand side. Semedo gets a foot into the challenge and is helped out by Adama Traore on this near side. Of course they have 2 Traores now, don't they, Wolverhampton Wanderers, after signing Boubacar during the from Metz on loan. So it's Adama Traore who's playing here as Podence brings the ball away. Very rare to see Jorginho score from other than a penalty, but he did test Jose Sarr. Here is Loftus-Cheek in the penalty area, but he's back to goal. Azpilicueta right across the face of goal, right-footed, planted it low, and it runs out for a goal kick. Pat Nevin.
You've got to say Wolves are very lucky at this point in time. Chelsea are finding lots of space in that box there. A couple of times just before that cross in, but eventually the ball comes out. This time to Azpilicueta. I told you, he's just changed his position. He's now the right wing back instead of the right full back. Finding a whole bunch of space out there. Puts a great ball in between the centre backs and the goalkeeper. And there'll be 1 or 2 people who are saying, where's Aubameyang? He's on the bench.
Yes, Aubameyang, who scored 2 in his last 2, but one of 7 changes made by Graham Potter here today. So Bournemouth 0, Leicester City 1, Manchester City 0, Southampton 0, and that goal for Brentford was disallowed after VAR, so that is still goalless as it is here. Commentary to come at 5:30. Brighton and Hove Albion against Tottenham Hotspur. Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood 1 is a latest score in League One, and you're up to date 5 Live and the World Service. Semedo over on that far side to Moutinho over the halfway line, plays it forward to Adama Traore. Traore now running at Cucurella. Cross headed out by Koulibaly, headed forward then by Johnny, comes to Guedes with his dark hair, back out then with Johnny once more. He shoots with a curling effort, right-footed, off-target goal kick. Pat.
Yeah, just one of the first chances in a little while that they've had an opportunity to get the ball in the box there. Adama Traore, who you talked about, he had plenty of space there. He does hit the first man, and he got the death glare from Diego Costa, as if to say, next time, beat the first man, I'll do the rest.
Diego Costa and Koulibaly at the minute, we were expecting maybe potential fireworks between the two.
Yeah, I am, but the problem is you only get fireworks if Wolves can actually get the ball up that half of the field, and for the last 10 minutes they've rarely actually got up that half of the field, so we'll need to try and do something to change that, because Chelsea are looking strong.
Pulisic darts forward, sliding challenge from Moutinho stops him in his tracks, and Chelsea win the ball back with Jorginho. The ball then goes all the way back to the halfway line. Cucurella to Koulibaly. Try at Leicester in the Rugby Union. Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, midway through the opening 40 minutes, it's Leicester 6, Sale 5. The opening try of the game scored by Tom Roebuck for Sale. That's his first of the season. They went through the phases building pressure, and he crashed down the left. Either side of that, 2 Leicester penalties sees the home side lead. Leicester 6, Sale 5.
Mason Mount with a shot, drags it off target. Just linked up a little bit with Pulisic, saw the opening, went for it, and it was wide. Goal kick 0-0.
Not dissimilar to an effort Mason Mount had a little bit on Wednesday night. Didn't think there was much of a chance on there, but he didn't catch this one right. Dragged it slightly, and it's gone past the near post.
Goal at Manchester City. Who to and who scored it? Maz?
It's not who you'd expect. It is for City. It's from Cancelo, though. Some really good work. He picked up the ball just on the halfway line, ran the length of the field down the left-hand side and fired into the bottom right-hand corner. Manchester City up and running. City 1, Southampton 0.
You would have to really fear the worst for Ralph Hasenhüttl. If you're thinking of Wolves and Bruno Lage and his sacking, they finished last season without winning any of their last 7 games. 1 win in 8 Premier League games, I think, was one of the main reasons why Wolverhampton Wanderers decided to dispense with his services. You look at Southampton, 1 win in 12 towards the end of last season, and that could be, a 4th straight defeat as Wolves struggle to get the ball away. Azpilicueta on the edge of the area. Loftus-Cheek passes the ball to Pulisic. just maybe seemed to sit up a little bit too much for him in the inside left channel, left-footed. He's blazed it over the top, goal kick, but Chelsea are just starting to create the odd chance, 0-0.
Yeah, there's a lot of space on that back line there. As the back four, they don't lose if they've got it quite right. Wolves, whereas you look at the players that are actually causing the problems now. It's Pulisic. He's actually playing as a wing back. He's finding a huge amount of space, and Azpilicueta as well on this right hand side. He's finding space as well, and just tactically at the moment, Wolves have been found wanting.
Bristol Rovers in League One without a win in 8. They are leading though against Cambridge United. Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge 0. Crewe have equalised at home to Gillingham 1-1. As Mateus rides the challenge of Jorginho, he passes the ball to Guedes, who goes down under the challenge from Azpilicueta just outside the penalty area, and referee Simon Hooper shows a free kick and then a yellow card to Azpilicueta fractionally late.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is arguing, but I don't think he's got a great argument there. I mean, what a brilliant run, apart from anything else, by Mateus. He's going to try 3-4 Chelsea players there, all lying in his wake. Azpilicueta tries to get back there. He claims he got it in time. Didn't look like it to me. We're getting another angle here. Actually, he's got a point, Azpilicueta. He got a bit of the ball.
Well, it's a free kick to Wolves. After this free kick, we're going straight to St James's Park, where there's been a goal, but this is certainly within Moutinho territory. If Neves wasn't suspended, I'm sure he'd be fancying it now, but Moutinho has placed it down left of the D, 3, 4, 5 strides back, and then like a rugby union fullback, 1 step to the left. There are 4 blue shirts in the wall. Wolves also have added a couple of golden shirts on the end of it. It is Moutinho who places it, and Kepa makes a flying save to his left. Straight as promised to St James's Park goal, Tom Gale.
Where I'm 99% sure this will stand, Ian. Newcastle 1, Brentford 0. The corner's taken backwards to Trippier. 35 yards out, whips in a wicked ball. Free header at the back post is Guimaraes with his fluorescent luminous yellow hair to head home. Newcastle 1, Brentford 0.
Sutton 0, Tranmere 1, a latest score in League 2. In the Championship, Blackburn Rovers are leading Rotherham United. That's Matt Taylor's first game in charge since he left Exeter to take charge of Rotherham. They're behind at Ewood Park. Wimbledon have equalised at Walsall. Walsall 1, Wimbledon 1, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. Still 0-0 here, midway through the first half. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, it was a brilliant break there to see Mateus taking all those players, Chelsea players out. That's what they need to do, Wolves just now. They've had very little of the game in the last few minutes. However, that break there and a chance to have a shot on Kepa. Kepa, however, was equal to it, and he is being preferred right now to Mendy, who is back in fit.
Azpilicueta slides the ball in from the right-hand side, and it runs out of play for a throw. Yeah, Mendy was back on the bench after 2 matches with a knee injury. That was against Milan in the Champions League. For Arrizabalaga, this is his 5th successive start. So we'll wait to see who is in goal in the San Siro on Tuesday night, because we've got more Champions League coverage for you. Milan-Chelsea Tuesday, Rangers-Liverpool, live from Ibrox, with Kelly Cates presenting on Wednesday. I'm sure that will be an extremely tasty atmosphere at Ibrox. So more Champions League coverage on BBC Radio 5 Live, because as of yet Graham Potter hasn't actually declared who his number 1 is between Mendy and Kepa. Although I was on the World Service earlier, Pat, with Brad Friedel, and Brad Friedel will say, well, he doesn't have to. His team selection will tell you.
Yeah, and don't bother doing that, because you'll just annoy one of them. The fact that Kepa hasn't made a mistake yet, why change it?
Gallagher to Azpilicueta, crosses the ball, Mount arriving, and he's just pulled it wide. He's also stayed down as well, has Mason Mount. Didn't seem the cleanest of strikes. Goal kick, 0-0.
Tough though, came through a whole bunch of players there, and he knew he was probably going to take a little bit of a hit when he played that ball. Defender come in to try and tackle him as well. 2 of them actually coming in to try and tackle him there. But that, idea that Chelsea play with with those 3 players coming in to attack from slightly deeper areas, Mount, Pulisic and Gallagher as well. That's exactly what they're trying to work there, and once again, almost paid off, but not quite.
Our featured game today in League One is at Home Park. It involves the leaders Plymouth. There's been a goal. Hamish Marshall.
It's taken Plymouth a time to get into their stride, but they're ahead now. Joe Edwards crossed from the left-hand side. Sliding in from 6 yards was Niall Ennis with his 4th of the season. Plymouth 1, Accrington 0.
Here is Mason Mount picking up the ball midway through the Wolves half to Havertz. He goes round the goalkeeper. Sar's come off his goal line, played it back to Pulisic. Pulisic never really looked convincing at all there running forward. He was easily dispossessed, and with Sarr in no man's land, it was a chance for Chelsea that they were unable to capitalise on.
I think Pulisic was waiting for a hit. I think he was looking to be taken down for a penalty kick. I mean, why do that? Just carry on. If you get hit, then take the hit. But he was expecting it to come and never came, and you're right, he never got in control of the ball, and a great chance for Chelsea was missed.
Shrewsbury 1, MK Dons 0. Cross from the left-hand side. Azpilicueta lays it off. Gallagher unmarked in the penalty area. Waits for the ball to settle. Back out to Azpilicueta. Cross takes the deflection. Loftus-Cheek arriving. But the deflection actually again caused the ball to sit up. And he volleyed it right-footed well over the top. And it is still Chelsea 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. 26 minutes played here at Stamford Bridge. Back to Carrow Road. Another goal. Aaron Paul.
Equaliser for Preston. Norwich 1, Preston North End 1. Robbie Brady with a whipped ball into the middle, and there was Emil Rees doing what he does so well, just planting the ball in the corner past Tim Krul. Nothing the big goalkeeper could do about it. Norwich 1, Preston 1.
Tomorrow, 5 Live Premier League Sunday. West Ham Fulham at 2. Arsenal Liverpool at 4:30. The game of the weekend. 2 balls are on the pitch, so play is yet to resume from that goal kick. And also we'll have John Murray, our correspondent in Frankfurt, to react to the Euro 2024 qualifying draw. So hopefully we'll be hearing from Gareth Southgate, Steve Clarke, Rob Page, Ian Barraclough once that draw has been concluded tomorrow. So that will all be in 5 Live Sport from midday tomorrow. The Japanese Grand Prix live at 6 in the morning. Bradford City 0, Stockport County 1 is the latest score from Valley Parade in League 2. Mark Hughes' side unbeaten in 7. But Dave Challinor's team have taken the lead there as Cucurella waits to take a throw over on that far side here in the sunshine at Stamford Bridge. Cucurella to Jorginho, and then hammered from the left-hand side by Mason Mount to Azpilicueta, who now charges forward over the halfway line. Gallagher peels away towards the right as the cross comes in, and Pulisic on the run heads it over the top.
Right, I'm looking at Pulisic, I'm looking at Havertz, Gallagher, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho. They have all had chances already. You know, get down the right wing generally here, put the ball into the middle. I'm looking at someone, do you know if you had a Frank Lampard here, he'd have 5 goals already. But those are all chances that haven't been on target yet.
Goal at Stoke, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United a level, it's 1-1. Rhian Brewster's just tapped it in from 6 yards out at the back post, but question marks about whether the ball went behind the line for a goal kick as the cross came in. As it stands though, it's Stoke 1, Sheffield United 1.
We'll stay in the Championship. Pat Murphy's at West Brom.
It's 0-0, but a surprising scoreline. Both sides had good chances. Just now, Yokosulu headed off the line, the West Brom line, after a fine header from Potts. Thomas Asante has been a handful up front for West Brom, stretching the Luton defence. He's just hit the outside of the post. It's a good game. West Brom 0, Luton 0.
Straight to Newcastle, another goal, Tom Gale.
Where Newcastle have been gifted a double advantage, Ian. Newcastle 2, Brentford 0. David Raya in the goal, plays it to Callum Wilson. Remember, he's 5 in his last 5, bears straight down, squares it to Jacob Murphy to tap home his first goal since the opening day of last season. Newcastle 2, Brentford 0.
Jose Sarr comes out of his goal line. Flag was up anyway as the ball was passed forward, looking towards Havertz from a counter-attack by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Doncaster Rovers 0, Leyton Orient 1, and there's been another goal at Stoke City. Lee Blakeman. No, we've been there. That was the Sheffield United equaliser. Stoke 1, Sheffield United 1. Leyton Orient then leading in League 2, just behind Northampton Town. Which our featured game, Northampton against Salford City. But we'll go back to the Championship. Katie Smith's at Coventry.
Yeah, Coventry City 0, Burnley 0. We've just had the one shot on target so far for Burnley. A header from Harwood Bellis tipped over the bar. Burnley dominating. Coventry did have a moment on the counter with Walker surging down the left. Wiped out though by Jordan Bayer, who was shown yellow. Not much more else to say. Goalless here.
Thank you, Katie. Half an hour impact. What do you think that Steve Davies would have made of this Wolverhampton Wanderers performance?
I think he'd be thankful that they're not 2, 3, 4 goals down just now. The half chances and opportunities that Chelsea have had have not made the best of. Just a moment ago though, the ball was played through towards Havertz, who was offside. See, if you play against Man City in that situation, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and you replace him with, you know, any one of 2 or 3 players from Manchester City, he plays the right ball, which was to Mason Mount. He was completely on and would have been through 1-1 with a goal, and that's maybe the difference, between the really, really top teams at the moment and the ones just below. As for Wolves, I think they're just a bit lucky at the moment not to be down, but you play for your luck.
Coutinho, piercing ball, finds Podence onto it in the penalty area, and then one twist too many, and he loses the ball, and the royal blue shirts of Chelsea bring it away. Jorginho out to Gallagher. Gallagher keeps it in play on the right hand side to Havertz. Havertz turns, and then by the time Chelsea have the ball now in this middle area of the field, Wolves have regrouped and have got sufficient numbers back. Watford have levelled at Bloomfield Road. Blackpool 1, Watford 1 is the latest score in the Championship. As Mason Mount comes forward. Let's go back to Ibrox. A goal. Conor McLaughlin.
Antonio Cholak it was, who was brought down in the box. Referee Nick Walsh says penalty. Who else would take it? James Tavernier, the captain. He slotted it home for his 4th goal of the season. It's Rangers 2, St Mirren 0.
As we cross to Connie, Pulisic drifting in from the left-hand side with a long-range effort that was curling and required Sarr to really stretch and dive away towards his left-hand side and bring his right arm up and over to tip it away.
That's a brilliant save. That's absolutely superb. And the ball was curling in, and I mean right into that top corner there. It's just a little bit too easy for Chelsea. They're getting shots on target time and time again. They're getting into dangerous areas. It honestly does feel like a matter of time just now.
Gallagher then waits to take the corner kick on this right-hand side. We are still 0-0 in the 32nd minute. Gallagher doesn't beat the first man, goes back out for another corner. Goal at Manchester City, Masfarouki.
Phil Foden has City second. A lovely finish on the left-hand corner of the 6-yard box. It looped in over the goalkeeper of some good work from Kevin De Bruyne. City 2, Southampton 0.
That'll be a 4th straight defeat for Southampton. Chelsea with a throw down by the corner flag. Azpilicueta. Cameraman's going to have to get out of the way for Azpilicueta. He's got him as a problem, and also the son. He was the assistant referee.
Well, he was a live feed there, the cameraman. We've just actually seen it in our screens here.
Eventually, it's a long, looping throw. Hasn't been dealt with. Chalobah on the spin, down into the ground from the defender. As we go back to Leicester in the Rugby Union, Alfie Reynolds.
Leicester 16, Sale 5, 8 minutes until half-time. Leicester's first try being scored by Jasper Wiese following Potter's break down the left. He finished from close range. Leicester 16, Sale 5.
They're knocking on the door of Chelsea. Here is Azpilicueta. Loftus-Cheek holds off Podence. Snapping away at his heels. Gallagher, right corner of the penalty area. Back to Loftus-Cheek, out to the right touchline. Azpilicueta to Chalobah. Every outfield player in the Wolves half as we look high down from our lofty position here at Stamford Bridge on a sunny afternoon in West London. Mason Mount now 10 yards in from the left to Havertz. Loftus-Cheek 30 yards out from goal central position. Prevented by Podence to getting it out to Azpilicueta. Taken over by Chalobah. Now it's with Azpilicueta. On the inside to Jorginho, playing by and large in front of Wolves at this stage. Azpilicueta comes in off the right touchline, ball scooped forward, Gallagher ducks underneath it in the penalty area, and Tote uses his strength to shepherd the ball and marshal it behind and out for a goal kick. Pat Nevin.
They defended slightly better there. Wolves, there wasn't a shot on target at the end of it, and just looking at some of the stats, by half-time we'll have a right good look at a much closer look by half-time. And Chelsea have had quite a number of shots on target, quite a number of shots off target. But at the moment, there's probably one person in the stadium more than anyone else who's sitting thinking, I could do something here. Mr. Aubameyang, I think he would quite fancy being on here. With the opportunities that Chelsea are creating at the moment, he must be thinking, look, get me on this pitch.
Well, they have Aubameyang, they have Sterling and Broja as attacking options to come off the bench. Forest Green lead Bolton by 1-0 in League One. But we've been playing now for 34 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live. We'll be going racing in about 5 minutes' time. Back to John at Newmarket on what is another busy afternoon of sport on BBC Radio 5 Live. Mason Mount looks for Pulisic. Semedo only partially cuts out that ball. Pulisic now has support from Cucurella. Cucurella to Mason Mount, plays it to Azpilicueta, controls the ball in the penalty area, onto his left foot, blocked by Totti. Headed away then by Podence. Chelsea have it back. Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho tries to come in between two Wolves players. Diego Costa back there on defensive duties, helping out. Seems to quite relish that particular duel, because at the minute Wolves are being forced back, Pat.
I think he's relishing the fact that he's getting some involvement in the game, because he's had very, very little involvement. I don't think that's anything got to do with Diego Costa. It's the fact that Wolves are rarely getting over the halfway line at the moment.
3 goals from 97 attempts this season from Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've had a couple of more with Podence header off target and a Moutinho free kick. And I'm sure you know as well, they actually haven't scored in the second half this season. They're the only side yet to score after half-time, which is a worry, whether it be for Steve Davis or indeed Julian Lopetegui, who I'm told is still in Spain, but is still their preferred candidate to replace Bruno Lage. But he might not necessarily be still in charge for their next game at the weekend, when it'll be another 5 Live commentary match at Molineux next Saturday. Nottingham Forest are the visitors. It may well still be Steve Davis and James Collins in temporary charge for Wolves. I get the impression that they're quite relaxed about it, wanting to give Lopetegui as much time as possible after his own sacking at Sevilla after that defeat at home to Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Morecambe are leading Ipswich by 1-0 in League One. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. Chelsea still looking to try and find a way through. It's with Mason Mount on that left-hand side to Pulisic, who turns left corner of the penalty area, goes back out towards the left-hand side. Cucurella in field. Mount's going to let it run behind for a corner kick. Took a deflection on its way through. Pat.
Just Mason Mount just now, I think he's having a really good game. A couple of the balls that he's played, you almost think, did you mean that? They've been absolutely superb. So there's a player that England can look at. He's in good form just now, creating a few chances. He'd love to score a goal.
Cambridge have equalised at Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge 1. Corner kick to Chelsea. 0-0 in our commentary game here at Stamford Bridge. Gallagher to take it, far side the left. And it comes to Azpilicueta on the edge of the 6-yard box. And he seems surprised that it's dropped at his feet. And he just couldn't react to move, get the footwork moving.
Yeah, I absolutely expected it. I'm trying to see who it was. Was it Ruben Loftus-Cheek or was it Koulibaly? Was trying to get a head on it. It was Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He expected him to get his head on it, and because he didn't, it drops to his feet, 6 yards out. He wasn't ready for it.
Mateus playing the ball out from defence, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and trying to beat the Chelsea press. And to be fair to them, they've succeeded. It was a lovely little chip ball from Mateus out towards that far side for Kilman to eventually clear the ball away. Now Wolves have lost it, and Chelsea with Cucurella. Left hand side, down towards the byline he goes. He looks up, he sends over the cross. Mount tries to hook it goalwards, cleared away by Podence, only as far as Chalobah. Let's go back to Bournemouth. Leicester City, Jonathan Overend.
Still Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1. Daka with the goal. Leicester looking the more dangerous overall, but the brightest moment of the half so far for Bournemouth fell to Ryan Christie. Lovely first touch, and his shot was saved low by Ward. Leicester leading 1-0.
Might well be 10 without a win for Harrogate Town in League Two. They're now trailing 2-0 at Colchester United. Cucurella out to Pulisic, almost at a standstill, and then Semedo forces Chelsea back, and they'll go all the way back to Kepa in goal. Stoke City, Sheffield United, Lee Blakeman.
Still Stoke 1, Sheffield United 1, but both teams have hit the woodwork in the last 5. Tariq Fosu has hit a shot from 25 yards, which came crossing off the crossbar for Stoke, and then Iliman Dice hit the post from the edge of the area for Sheffield United. Still 1-1.
Chalobah to Azpilicueta. Right hand side, his ball though goes astray. Gallagher had come short, it bypassed him to Moutinho.
There's the odd little rumble around here now, isn't there? And Chelsea have been so dominant in every single part of the field for the vast majority of this game. They've created half chance after half chance every few minutes or so, but you know the rumble is they're going to have to score at some point, because if they don't, they've been here time and time again. Wolves just need one break, and they could score a goal, and then they will try and shut up shop, because one thing we do know about Wolves, they don't give away a lot of goals.
Well, you talk about Chelsea and scoring goals. September 2021 was the last time that they failed to score here at Stamford Bridge, when they lost 1-0 to Manchester City. It's a run of 30 games. So the Chelsea supporters will be expecting them to score. They might be sitting a little uncomfortably at the moment as Wolves are attacking with Johnny. Back to Podence. Costa waits. Geddes also in the penalty area. Moutinho now comes forward, out towards the right-hand side to Semedo. Adama Traore goes on the outside as well. Instead it's with Mateus. 30 yards out, chips the ball across to Adama Traore, right hand side of the penalty area, delivers the cross, and Mateus 6 yards out, can't keep his header down. It was a lovely move from Wolverhampton Wanderers. 0-0.
That was the best move so far by some distance, and once again it's Mateus. He's actually had a good start to the game. He could do with a little bit more of the ball in that midfield sort of area, but he plays it out wide himself and he goes for the 1-2 with the header, gets on the end of it. He couldn't keep it down. He's been a standout player for Wolves so far.
Goal at Coventry in the Championship, Katie Smith.
It's Coventry City 0, Burnley 1. Played down the right hand side to Nathan Teller, the Southampton loanee. Picked it up on the edge of the area, flashed it across the face of goal, trickled in at the far post. It's Coventry City 0, Burnley 1.
2 sendings off at Plymouth. Hamish Marshall.
Stemming from the one instant, Plymouth's Dan Scarr looked out of control as a full stretch as he tackled Seamus Conneely. He was sent off for that. A melee that followed up from that. Liam Coyle of Accrington was dismissed then. Plymouth lead 1-0, but it's 10 men apiece.
Stoppage in play here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1, Manchester City 2, Southampton 0, Newcastle 2, Brentford 0. Latest scores elsewhere in the Premier League. Jorginho is getting treatment in the Chelsea penalty area. We mentioned Newcastle. Let's get an update from St James's. Tom Gale.
Where it is still Newcastle 2, Brentford 0. Ian Keart's first goals of the season for Bruno Guimaraes and Jacob Murphy. Remember, Brentford had a disallowed goal in the 10th minute by VAR after the referee John Brooks went to the monitor. It is Newcastle 2, Brentford 0.
We'll take advantage of this stoppage in play to continue to go around the grounds. And Maz at Manchester City.
Still City 2, Southampton 0. Haaland with that goal disallowed. He's also had a shot blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. A desperate scramble on the Southampton defence as City go on the attack again. City 2, Southampton 0.
And Bournemouth Leicester City, Jonathan Overend.
Still Leicester leading 1-0, but Bournemouth felt they should have had a penalty when Fredericks thought he was clipped by Johnny Evans, went down, but the referee actually booked Fredericks for a dive. Very hard to tell, but VAR ruled in Leicester's favour.
Thank you, Jonathan. Sports report to come with Mark Chapman at 5 o'clock. The results and the reaction before Brighton and Tottenham, as Jorginho is OK to resume. He's coming back onto the field of play. The game restarts with a goal kick taken by Kepa, and just feels a little flat now, doesn't it?
You took the words out of my mouth here. You know, this place is full. This game's been sold out for a long, long time. It's so quiet, you know, and Chelsea are playing well. There have been opportunities, you know, and just about 10-15 minutes ago there was a come on Chelsea shout, and then it died away. It is like a library in here today.
Needs something to, whether it be a challenge between Koulibaly and Costa, but just something to try and spark the crowd, as Chelsea have had chances. Mistake by Koulibaly, and
he's listening to you.
He dived in and then actually he almost caught Diego Costa. It was a mistake where Costa just saw a little bit of the ball and he was quickly in it. That was Diego Costa, and then the Wolves have seen it back to Jose Sarr. Hartlepool lead Carlisle by a 0-0 in League 2. Half-time in the rugby, Alfie Reynolds.
Leicester 16, Sale 12. Sale's tries have been scored by Tom Roebuck and Rob de Prier. They came either side of Jasper Wiese's score for the home side. Freddie Burns has kicked the rest of the points. It means it's Leicester 16, Sale 12 at half-time.
We've got about 60 seconds remaining of this first half of normal time here at Stamford Bridge, where it's still Chelsea 0, Wolves 0. Koulibaly midway through his own half now to Chalobah, who's over the halfway line. Loftus-Cheek lets it come across his body, threads a short ball forward, cleared away though by Kilman at the heart of that Wolves defence. Geddes is challenged being behind. The referee plays the advantage. Podence to Adama Traore. Geddes is still on his knees as Adama Traore tries to squeeze the ball through to Podence, but it's snuffed out by Chelsea, who now can come forward. And you can hear the crowd just say, go on, go forward, but there's a lack of pace. Pulisic has slowed the attack down, and again, before he's looked up midway through the Wolves half, there must be 7-8 gold shirts back for Wolves.
And by the way, they didn't sprint back. They jogged back and got there in plenty of time. That, you know, I think the energy that, you know, that certainly the manager were looking for, it was there at the start of the game. These last 5 or 10 minutes, they've been bordering on soporific. Just playing, holding the ball, not increasing any urgency to it. And, you know, when that happens in a game, the manager will have something to say at half-time. But if nothing happens after another 10 minutes, he'll make 3 or 4 changes.
Yes. Here is Azpilicueta. Short ball to Gallagher with his back to goal, out to this near right touchline. Goes a long way around. Probably asked too much of Azpilicueta as Tote is barged off the ball by Azpilicueta, and it goes out of play for...
Azpilicueta is complaining about that, and the suggestion is certainly Azpilicueta didn't touch it, so if it was anything, it was a free kick. It certainly shouldn't have been a throw into Wolves there, so the officials got that one wrong. However, Azpilicueta, he has to be careful doing things like that. He's already been booked.
Birmingham City 2, Bristol City 0 is the latest score in the Championship. A minimum of 2 minutes to be added on here at Stamford Bridge. Adama Traore heads it into the path of Semedo. Semedo running forward to the edge of the penalty area, in towards Diego Costa. And as he tried to turn in the inside right channel of the penalty area, the ball just got stuck underneath his feet.
Yeah, that's when you're not match fit and 100% up to it. That's the sort of thing that happened. Nothing more than lack of match fitness there. Got himself into the right position but couldn't control the ball.
Ball played forward by Jorginho, taken high on the chest by Pulisic. In stoppage time, still 0-0. Pulisic, left-hand side of the penalty area. Mount also in close proximity. Pulisic's cross might break towards Gallagher, and he touches the ball, and it goes behind of Totti for a corner kick to Chelsea. Still 0-0.
So many options there at the back post. Once again, Azpilicueta, loads of space there. Ball couldn't quite reach him. He's actually holding his back just now, but each time Chelsea attack, there are spaces. They're just not making good use of them.
Corner kick then far side for Chelsea. Comes back to Chalobah, right-hand side of the penalty area. Feeds it into the path of Mason Mount with the cut back from the byline, headed out by Diego Costa. Mount's done ever so well to get it back for Chelsea on this right-hand side. Chalobah stayed with him, back towards Mason Mount. Time to deliver the cross. It's perfectly flighted. Havertz with a header, and Chelsea get the breakthrough goal. All about the cross from Mason Mount, and then a soft looping header from Kai Havertz, drifted past Sarr. And Chelsea, on the stroke of half-time, lead Wolverhampton Wanderers by 1-0.
Well, they've waited a long time for that. They've created so many chances, but Mason Mount, I think he's been the star of the show today. Chased the ball down when it didn't look as if he could get it. Got the ball back in play. Had he not chased that down, it certainly wouldn't have led to the goal. Lovely header by Kai Havertz at the back post there. But Mason Mount, super play.
Let's go racing. Newmarket, John Hunt.
Closing stages then of the Cesarovic, and Not So Sleepy is one of the leaders, but for Ireland, Run for Oscar, one of the favourites, now comes bursting through into the dip, and Run for Oscar's found a rare turn of foot from Not So Sleepy. The rest playing for places only, plugging on his Vino Victrix, but this is a tremendously impressive display by Run for Oscar, who has won the Cesarovic hands down. Vino Victrix was second, Not So Sleepy next, and it looked as though Zoffi and Frankie Dettori may have got fourth place. That was one of the favourites, Ian. Run for Oscar has bolted up to win the final big handicap of the flat season.
Thank you, John. SPs and reaction to follow. We will get to Swansea with Mark Chapman during the half-time interval, where Swansea are leading Sunderland by 2-0, but the half-time whistle has sounded. Chelsea eventually getting the goal.
Yeah, it took them a long time, considering they've been utterly dominant in this game. Created a whole host of chances. I have to admit, I've not been hugely impressed by Wolverhampton Wanderers today. Usually you see their structure, their organisation, their battle. I know they're missing a lot of players. There's a number of players playing there who don't look to be 100% match fit as well, so I absolutely get it. But at the moment, Chelsea at a canter, and at another dull canter, are 1-0 up.
Havertz with that goal. It's Chelsea 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Goal on the stroke of half-time at Stoke, Lee Blakeman.
And it's another defender who's got it for Stoke. It's Stoke 2, Sheffield United 1. Baker's corner, and there was the 40-year-old Phil Jagielka to meet it with his head to put Stoke back in front as the half-time whistle blows here. Stoke 2, Sheffield United 1.
Against his former club. Details of that second goal at Swansea come from Laura Kenyon.
Yeah, Swansea 2, Sunderland 0. The centre-back Harry Darling doubled the home side's lead, bundled over the line on the stroke of half-time. Russell Martin, Swansea, well, they're in fine form. At half-time, they lead 2-0.
And a goal on the stroke of half-time at Northampton as well. This is in League 2. Ellen.
Yeah, well, the whistle has just gone here as well. Half-time, Northampton 0, Salford 1. And on the
the board went up. It was a minute left to play. Ethan Galbraith, the Northern Ireland international midfielder, side-footed the ball completely against the run of play into the back of the Northampton net. Northampton before that well on top. This is a big shock here. Northampton 0, Salford 1.
Goals for City, no goals for Haaland. Maz.
Sorry, I'm just getting a press pass here. Manchester City 2, Southampton 0.
Shouldn't you have got that earlier? How did you get in?
This is my tunnel one for after the game for Sports Report. Sorry, I'm going to be professional now. Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. City dominating as you'd expect. The only surprise is that Haaland isn't one of the goal scorers. He's had the ball in the back of the net, but the City move was offside. He's also hit the left-hand post. Both City goals, though, from the left were both great finishes. Show and goes from first Cancelo and then Foden. No shots on target for Southampton tells you everything you need to know about their first 45. Stuart Armstrong blasting over the crossbar from the D in the final minute. The only moment really for the travelling Southampton fans to applaud. City on top, they lead 2-0.
To St James's Park next, Tom Gale.
Newcastle 2, Brentford 0 at half-time mark. Training ground opener for Eddie Howe's side. 21st minute corner, played backwards to Trippier. Deep cross, headed home, unmarked by Guimaraes. They were gifted a second 7 minutes later. Brentford keeper Rea passed it straight to Callum Wilson, who selfishly squared for a Jacob Murphy tap-in. First goal of the day came for the visitors 10 minutes in, and Buemo's strike disallowed after Ivan Toney appeared to dummy the ball before it fell to his teammate. He was judged to be interfering with play coming back from an offside position after referee John Brooks was sent to the monitor by VAR. Half-time, Newcastle 2, Brentford 0.
Tranmere have won 3 on the spin in League 2, and Paul Lewis has just got his 4th of the season for them, and that's the 2nd of the afternoon. And Mickey Mellon's side at half-time are 2-0 up at Sutton. The visitors lead in the Premier League at Bournemouth. Jonathan Overend.
Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1. Leicester on course for a second successive victory. The better side, Patson Daka with the goal. Neat finish after Bournemouth failed to clear a loose ball inside the box. Could have been very different had Christie not dawdled through one-on-one in the second minute. Fredericks claimed a late penalty, down after a challenge by Evans, but the referee ruled a dive. VAR agreed. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1.
Let's go into the Championship then. As we've been hearing, leaders Sheffield United behind at the break at Stoke, who lead by 2-1. Second place Norwich at home to Preston. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1, Preston 1. A really entertaining first half of football. Mark Norwich dominating the opening proceedings, and Josh Sargent directing the show. He broke the deadlock with a solo effort, drilling it right-footed into the corner of the net. Sargent then forced Freddie Woodman into a great save. The North End keeper with a big paw to keep the ball out of the net after Sargent wrestled 2 defenders to get the shot away. But then came the equaliser. Emil Rees with a brilliant header after a delicious cross by Robbie Brady. Teemu Pukki squandered a one-on-one, just dinking the ball over the goalkeeper and watching it sail wide. All in all, great bit of first half action. Norwich 1, Preston North End 1.
Side at the bottom and behind at the break. Katie Smith.
Yeah, they remain at the bottom of the table as things stand. Coventry 0, Burnley 1. The visitors ahead through Nathan Teller, putting one away and an angle out on the far right-hand side of the area. Coventry, though, had an effort ricochet off the underside of the crossbar just moments before half-time. So this second half then for Burnley, all about putting this one to bed. They've led until the dying minutes in their past 2 matches. They've been pegged back for draws both times. They lead by a 0-0.
This scoreline doesn't sound like one to get the Hawthorns regulars off their feet. Pat Murphy?
No, it's West Brom 0, Luton 0. It's tight, tense, tough. West Brom started in lively fashion. Thomas Asante leading the line well, but then they faded towards the end and they're getting frustrated by Luton. For Luton, Potts had a splendid header headed off the line by Yokuslu. They look a tight, well-organised outfit. This could go any way, really. They need a goal, West Brom, urgently. West Brom 0, Luton 0.
Elsewhere in the Championship, the half-time whistle has gone at the Liberty, and Swansea do lead Sunderland by 2-0. We heard about that second Swansea goal from Laura. Elsewhere, it's Birmingham 2, Bristol City 0 at the break, and Austin Trusty has got both of those for the home side. Blackburn lead Rotherham by a 0-0. Ben Brereton Diaz with his 6th of the season. Blackpool 1, Watford 1 at the home side, taking the lead through Gary Medine, but Imran Louza has equalised for Slaven Bilic's side at Bloomfield Road. Millwall lead Middlesbrough by a 0-0. They're decent at home in Millwall. They've won 2 of their last 3 at home, and of course Middlesbrough are looking for a new manager at the moment, and they're still waiting for the half-time whistle to go at Wigan, but Cardiff lead there by a goal to nil. Wigan yet to win at home this season, drawn 3 and lost 2, and they look like they're going to be behind at the break. Let's go into League One. The leaders lead at half-time, but Hamish Marshall, all sorts has been going on there.
It certainly has. It's 10 men apiece in the second half after Plymouth's Dan Scarr and Accrington's Seamus Keneally were both adjudged to be out of control when they went in for a challenge. One player from each side was also booked in the melee which followed. The goal that has Plymouth in front was Niall Ennis's 4th of the season. Otherwise, it's been a fairly even game. Plymouth 1, Accrington 0.
Thank you very much. Elsewhere in League One, Barnsley 0, Exeter 1, and Jay Stansfield, the son of the late Exeter striker Adam Stansfield, got the goal at Oakwell after just 1 minute. It's Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge United 1. Derby lead Port Vale by a goal to nil. Remember, Paul Warne's first home game in charge in the league. James Collins got that goal, 4 for the season for him. Forest Green Rovers, who've lost their last 3, lead at the break. Connor Wickham getting the goal for them, 5 for the season for him, and they're 1 up at home to Bolton. It's goalless between Lincoln and Charlton. Maybe a surprise at Morecambe. Kieran Phillips' 3rd of the season means that the bottom side leads second place Ipswich by a goal to nil. It's Oxford 0, Wickham 0, although that game has been interrupted on my screen. Don't know why. We'll try and find out why for you. Peterborough 0, Burton 0, Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood 1. Sheffield Wednesday lead Cheltenham by a goal to nil. Josh Windass got that, 4 for the season for him. And Shrewsbury lead MK Dons, who are struggling this season. They're in 20th position, and Shrewsbury are 2-0 up. In League 2, goalless between Barrow and Mansfield. Stockport are a goal up at Bradford City, thanks to Paddy Madden's 3rd of the season, and that came from the penalty spot. Colchester 2, Harrogate 0, Crewe 1, Gillingham 1. The leaders Leyton Orient, who suffered their first defeat last season at home to Newport, are ahead this afternoon at Doncaster. They lead by a goal to nil. Grimsby 1, Crawley 0, Hartlepool 1, Carlisle 0. It's Newport 0, Rochdale 1. The bottom of the table side lead through Jimmy Ball's 3rd of the season there. As you heard, Salford took the lead on the stroke of half-time at Northampton. Stevenage, who are in unbelievable form at home, they've won all 8 in all competitions, and they lead at the break against Swindon by a goal to nil. It's Sutton 0, Tranmere 2, and Walsall 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. In the National League earlier, finished Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Southend 1. All the others are half-times here. Altrincham 1, Dorking 0, Bromley 0, Gateshead 0, Eastleigh 1, Chesterfield 0, Maidenhead 0, Oldham 1, Maidstone 0, Halifax 0. Scunthorpe lead Aldershot by 3 goals to 1. It's goalless between Wilston and Boreham Wood. The leaders Notts County are 3-1 up at Woking. Great game at the racecourse ground in the first half. Wrexham 3, Barnet 2, and it's goalless between Yeovil and Solihull Moors and between York and Torquay. In the Scottish Premiership, Celtic earlier beat St Johnstone with virtually the last kick of the game to win by 2 goals to 1. Rangers are chasing them down. They're taking on 3rd place St Mirren. Connie.
They are, and they're fulfilling their side of the bargain so far. It's Rangers 2, St Mirren 0 at half-time. And to be fair, Mark, it's been all Rangers so far. Borna Barisic thought he'd opened the scoring from a long-range effort, but it came off. Well, I thought it was a parry shot, to be fair, from the goalkeeper, but it might have been the post. But whatever it was, Antonio Cholak was there, just in the right place at the right time to knock in the rebound for his 12th goal of the season. Then Cholak was involved again for the second, after he was brought down in the box by Declan Gallagher. And who else would take the subsequent penalty? Ibrox captain James Tavernier for his 4th goal of the season. Saints haven't won here, Mark, in over 30 years. And I'm guessing it's just a hunch, but they might have to wait just that little bit longer.
We may come to regret that.
Listen, after the first 45 minutes I've just watched, I think I'm quite safe to say that. Rangers 2, St Mirren 0 at half-time.
2 of the games in the Scottish Premiership at 3 o'clock today. No goals in either of them. Hibs against Motherwell, Livingston versus Ross County, Dundee United, Aberdeen is a 6 o'clock kickoff. In Scottish Championship at half-time, Arbroath 1, Dundee 1, Ayr 2, Queen's Park 0, Morton are 3-0 up on Hamilton, and Wraithley Cove Rangers by 2 goals to 0. In Scottish League 1 this afternoon, Adrionians 2, Queen of the South 2, Alloa 0, Dunfermline 2, Clyde 0, Montrose 0, FC Edinburgh 1, Kelty Hearts 0, and Peterhead 0, Falkirk 1. And in Scottish League 2, Albion Rovers 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1. Forfar are playing East Fife this afternoon. Disappointingly, though, it's only 2-0 at the moment to East Fife. Stenhousemuir 0, Annan 1. Annan down to 10 in that game. Stirling have had a great first half against Dumbarton, the lead by 4-0. And it's Stranraer 2, Elgin 2. That Oxford game against Wickham have been interrupted.
From 6 a.m.
on 5 Live.
The championship fight, in inverted commas, goes on.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Back to Stamford Bridge in a moment. First to Welford Road, Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, Leicester 16, Sale 12. A few minutes into the second half, it's still Leicester that lead thanks to Jasper Wiese's first half try and 11 points from the boot of Freddie Burns. Leicester 16, Sale 12.
So in the Premier League at half-time, Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1. Manchester City 2, Southampton 0, Newcastle 2, Brentford 0. And at the Bridge, right on the stroke of half-time, Chelsea took the lead at home to Wolves. Here are Pat and Ian.
Thank you, Mark. Chelsea's players are out there, and Wolves now are going to be making a change, and it is going to be a debut for Joseph Hodge, who is 20 years of age. He's an Irish youth international. He's essentially a defensive midfielder. They signed him from Manchester City's youth system in August 2021. It was a 3-year deal. So he comes on, and the player who's gone off is Gonçalo Guedes, is the player that he has replaced. So Wolves trailing by a goal to 0, yet to score at all this season in the second half, and that's the change that they've made. Pat Nevin.
I can see why they've made it, because he, I think, will be a deep line midfielder, and there was so much space in that area. That's where all the Chelsea players were piling in from the kind of deep midfield area and getting chances, so I can see why he's been brought on.
So we're back underway on BBC Radio 5 Live with Chelsea through that goal from Havertz. A header from the cross from Mount on the right-hand side to give Graham Potter's side a slender lead, and to continue that sequence of now 31 consecutive games where they've always scored since September 2021. As the autumnal sunshine here in West London, and Chelsea in their royal blue shirts and shorts and white socks in this second half will be playing from right to left. against Wolves in their golden shirts and black shorts, therefore defending the shed end, the away team, and attacking that two-tiered Matthew Harding stand away towards our right-hand side. A reminder of the two sides, 7 changes that Graham Potter made from that impressive victory against Milan on Wednesday night in the Champions League. Kepa is in goal, Azpilicueta, Chalobah, Koulibaly and Cucurella the defence, the midfield of Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, Pulisic, Mount and Havertz. And now with Wolves, Sarr is in goal, Semedo, Kilman, Tote Gomez and Johnny, Traore, Moutinho, Mateus, Hodge, Podence and Diego Costa. Adama Traore towards the byline with the cross and taken away out of the path of Podence by Gallagher, who runs out towards that corner flag on that far side, as Peterborough are leading Burton Albion by a 1-0. Peterborough, who've won their last 3 in League One, are leading at London Road. Adama Traore collects the ball, space to run at Cucurella, delivers another good dropping ball in from the right-hand side, over the head of Diego Costa. Pat?
They've had a really good start to this second half. Obviously, a little change to the tactics. It seems to have worked early on for Wolves. Got a couple of chances to get the ball on the right-hand side. I have to say, Adama Traore was very quiet in that first half. Livened up a bit now.
Remember, they're yet to score so far after half-time in the Premier League this season, and indeed Wolves could equal a Premier League record for most consecutive games at the start of a campaign, 9, without scoring in the second half. Crystal Palace in 17-18 and Norwich last season. Traore, he is, as Pat says, seeing a lot of the ball, but his trickery won't get past Pulisic, who goes in for a challenge with Hodge. Podence now out towards that far side, and it's with Mateus. First shot blocked, comes back to him, away from Azpilicueta with the cutback, tucked in the left back, Cucurella. This has been a very encouraging start from Wolverhampton Wanderers. They really have penned Chelsea back 3 minutes into the second half.
Certainly got the Chelsea supporters a little bit more concerned than they have been for a long time in this game, but they've really livened up. Obviously, the coach has had a few words to them at half-time, playing much better and basically asking a few questions for once. They were just too quiet and not taking any risks in the first half. A little bit better second so far.
Mateus with a back heel. Johnny, first time cross, deflected behind by Azpilicueta. A roar of encouragement from the travelling support from Wolverhampton away towards our left-hand side. Latest scores in the Premier League: Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1. Manchester City, the only unbeaten side in all 4 divisions of England, still leading 2-0 against Southampton, and Newcastle United are 2-0 up against Brentford at St James's Park, as Wolves, a goal down, take the corner short. Back towards Moutinho, delivers the cross. Kepa comes off his goal line, and it runs out of play for a goal kick. As we go to the Etihad and Mazfarouki.
And a third for City. Mahrez this time lashing in at the far post after he was fed in really nicely by Rodri from the D. City 3, Southampton 0.
Will extend their winning run to 6 consecutive games, and Manchester City will be 2 points clear of Arsenal. Arsenal-Liverpool tomorrow, part of 5 Live Premier League Sunday from midday. Whereas Chelsea, they're just sort of like trying to force their way into the top 4 against a Brighton side, managed, of course, by the former Brighton boss, and they would go above Brighton as it stands, leading by a 1-0. Millwall are leading Middlesbrough now 2-0 in the Championship, and Walsall have got a second goal. Walsall 2, Wimbledon 1. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, again, he just kept it going. Chelsea tried to get hold of the ball. Wolves closing in, like in a pack, as they should do. And at the moment, Chelsea can't get out. However, here's a little half chance at a break.
Cucurella to Havertz. Little flick into the path of Mason Mount. Opens it up and encourages Gallagher to join the attack. Far side, the right. Gallagher with a cross. Havertz, it might have come off his shoulder, that one. Sarr was coming off his goal line. Needless to say, it drops over the top and out to safety for a goal kick. Chelsea lead 1-0.
Oh, there were so many options there. I mean, they run down the right-hand side there. Mount and... I was asking the question beforehand, but Gallagher and Mount, they've got a great understanding. This time they didn't get it. There's a ball on that should have been played through to Mason Mount. It wasn't. He eventually played the ball into Kai Havertz. I think he had one eye on the goalkeeper as came out there. But this space that the attacking players that they're getting in front of goal and in that 18-yard line happened so much in the first half. If they keep on doing that in the second half, Wolves, however well they play, they will lose goals.
He just seemed to turn his head away, didn't it, as he was dropping.
Always expecting the hit.
Barrow 0, Mansfield 1 is the latest score in League 2. Mansfield have won their last 3 away from home. Pulisic putting pressure on Kilman. Kilman down towards his own corner flag, turns, but it's kept in play by Mason Mount, who's had a very good game for Chelsea. Mason Mount. Infield it goes to Havertz, offside as Havertz to Pulisic. Barnsley 0, Exeter 2 is a latest score from Oakwell. Somewhat of a surprise. Barnsley have won their last 4, and of course Matt Taylor has recently left Exeter, but Jay Stansfield on the score sheet early in the second half at Oakwell. And it's Hartlepool United 1, Carlisle 1, so Paul Simpson's side are level at Victoria Park. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC here at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea, through that Havertz goal, still have a slender lead.
The thing is, there is jeopardy. There's definitely jeopardy here because the way that Wolves have started this second half.
Here is Adama Traore on the right-hand side. They've doubled up on him. He manages to squeeze the ball inside towards Hodge, the substitute for a defensive midfielder. He was trying to get on the end of that, but Wolves have certainly made a bright start to the second half, but good defending. It's ushered out for a goal kick. There's been a goal at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1, Preston North End 2, and this is a blistering count away from the away team. Alvaro Fernandez on loan from Manchester United down the left-hand side. He spots Emil Rees in acres of space, and he just drills the ball past Tim Krul in the Norwich goal. Norwich 1, Preston North End 2.
So that would mean that
finish low and buried bottom corner. Much better start from Sunderland. The away support is loud now. It's Swansea 2, Sunderland 1.
Pulisic on the attack here for Chelsea, left corner the penalty area to Mount, looking to turn back towards Pulisic, wriggles free. Pulisic with a delightful chip. Wonderful goal from Christian Pulisic. It's his first goal of the season, and Chelsea's revival under Graham Potter continues. They lead by 2-0 as we go straight to Newcastle. Tom Gale.
Newcastle 2, Brentford 1. Ian, the visitors have one back courtesy of a penalty. Dan Burn, handball. Up stepped Ivan Toney, the captain, slotted home his 19th consecutive penalty. Brentford's back in it. Newcastle 2, Brentford 1.
What a delightful goal that was from Christian Pulisic, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, beautifully played. I said there was a lot of space available in that 18-yard line of Spurs there. He didn't need a lot of space there. Beautiful one too. So really noticeable that Chelsea have been trying to do a lot of these intricate, tight little passes. That was an eye of a needle one they played. I think it might have been Mason Mount again. Another assist from Mason Mount. Beautiful ball there, but he had a lot to do. Little dink with his left foot. What was most notable after that, every single Chelsea player, bar the goalkeeper, ran right to the corner to go all over Pulisic to say, "We're with you, mate." He's a very, very popular player, and that's a very popular goal round here, and that really does take the sting out of the game for Chelsea.
And it came just at the right time for Chelsea, bearing in mind Wolves had made a bright start to the second half, but 2 assists for Mason Mount. But in the inside left channel, the penalty area, just a delightful little dink there by Christian Pulisic, and gets him up and running for the season. Chelsea lead Wolves 2-0. Wolves are going to respond with another substitution, and it is going to be Hwang who's coming on. Another goal at St James's Park. Tom Gale.
The home side have restored their 2-goal advantage here. Newcastle 3, Brentford 1. Brentford trying to counter. Guimaraes dispossesses, lets fly from 25 yards, bottom corner in front of the Gallowgate end. Newcastle 3, Brentford 1.
Try at Leicester, Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, Leicester 16, Sale 26. Sale retaken the lead with their 3rd and 4th tries of the game. The first of those for Tom Curry, the second for Rafi Quirk. A really strong start to the second half for the visitors. Leicester 16, Sale 26.
Diego Costa is being replaced, and he comes off to a standing ovation from the Chelsea supporters.
It's so unusual to see a player walk off and he's walked off the far side, and he's going to walk all the way around the Martin Harding, and he is going to lap up every second of it. It's a bit weird, that save from Nil, and he doesn't play for the team, but he's got a chance to say goodbye to those fans.
It is a brilliant reception for Diego Costa. Diego is the chant. He turned 34 yesterday. Unlike his previous visit to Stamford Bridge, where he scored for Atletico Madrid, he's unable to score in what is his full debut for Wolverhampton Wanderers. 58 goals in 120 appearances, 2 Premier League titles, and still fondly remembered here at Stamford Bridge. Diego Costa comes off, Hwang is on. Ipswich have equalised at Morecambe. Morecambe 1, Ipswich 1. Port Vale 11 at Derby. Grimsby Town lead Crawley by 2-0, and you're up to date with the goals as they go on.
It's a very odd thing. The camera's right on him there. He's following him all the way up. You know, he loves being in the limelight anyway, but he's still getting huge applause here. I mean, if I was a Will fan, I'd probably be a bit miffed at the moment, but it is a quite magical moment.
I'll tell you what, there's not many Wolves supporters applauding him.
Well, they'll have the chance in the future, hopefully, when he gets himself fully fit. I mean, had very little impact in the game today. In fact, let's be fair, that's just the biggest impact he's had in the afternoon, walking off the pitch.
But you're right, that was a magical moment, and Diego Costa, I'm sure, will appreciate the gesture from the Chelsea supporters. Shrewsbury 2, MK Dons 1 is a latest score. I know it's in the National League, but there's a right humdinger of a game taking place at the racecourse ground. Wrexham and Barnet. Wrexham 3, Barnet 3. Motherwell have just had Connor Shields sent off in the Scottish Premiership. They're still drawing away 0-0 at Hibs, but they're down to 10 men. Chelsea lead 2-0. Havertz is away here. Havertz goes with a left-footed chip, and the outstretched left hand by Jose Sarr saves it.
Yeah, very, very, very close there. I think he was probably offside, but it's again those gaps that you've got in that back line there. There will be chances again. I don't think the scoring will be finished. Traore. Well, we'll go back to that in a minute.
Adama Traore with a cross. He seemed to haul down Cucurella. Yeah. Comes to Podence, left-hand side of the penalty area. Cut back, nobody is there. In midweek, they gained their first clean sheet since the opening day, Chelsea. They'll now be looking for back-to-back clean sheets. Colchester 2, Harrogate 1. So Simon Weaver's side have a goal back in League 2. On a dreadful run of form, the team from North Yorkshire. As we'll go to an update from Stoke City, Sheffield United in the Championship. Lee Blakeman.
Stoke 2, Sheffield United 1. Brilliant game this. Stoke should be further clear. Tariq Fosu on the volley, 20 yards out, has just had a brilliant effort. Superbly cleared off the line by Norwood, as Sheffield United now bring on Billy Sharp. Stoke 2, Sheffield United 1.
Semedo for Wolves, who are 2-0 down, right corner of the area, runs straight into Cucurella, and Chelsea are able to bring the ball away. Bristol Rovers lead Cambridge by 2-1. Joey Barton's side are back in front in League 1 as the ball goes out of play. Chelsea still lead 2-0. Coventry in the Championship being watched by Katie Smith.
Coventry 0, Burnley 1. Burnley like a tidal wave of pressure now, unrelenting, washing forward, yet to find that killer moment though. The best chance, Rodriguez played in at the near post into the side netting. It's Coventry 0, Burnley 1.
Now this week, Sports Report of course is on its way. A splendid book is now available from a certain Pat Murphy, charting and celebrating 75 years of Sports Report. It would make the ideal stocking filler, as Chelsea are on the attack here with Gallagher. Wolves, though, with the interception, bring the ball away. I was trying to give you the big build-up there, Pat.
Checks in the post, Ian. No money has changed hands. Thank you for that. Here at the Hawthorns, it's West Brom 0, Luton 0. It's a really good, tight contest, but West Brom have got to be very careful. The keeper, Palmer, was too nonchalant just now. A deep cross, went for it one-handed, slipped, got away with it. They really need the goal here, West Brom. But at the moment, it's West Brom 0, Luton 0. There's no pushover, Luton.
And I think I'm right in saying an audio book available as well.
Correct. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
5 days in a row, hottest week of the year.
I feel his pain, by the way. Reading for that amount of time, for those amount of hours, it sounds like fun, but out loud, you actually walk away in pain. It's agony.
You could have the sports report book, or indeed the accidental footballer.
You could. Moving on swiftly.
Written by a certain Pat Nevin. So that's 2 checks that are due in the post for me now. Oxford United 0, Wycombe 1. Wrexham, incidentally, now 4-3 up against Brentford, Phil Parkinson's side in the Nations League. Here,
by the way, there was a third check there, and it was Jorginho and Mateus going away there. And Jorginho has been booked there. Mateus reacted, and he could have got a yellow card himself. He has to be careful.
So Jorginho joining the Chelsea captain Azpilicueta in the notebook of referee Simon Hooper. We've been playing for just over 61 minutes here at Stamford Bridge. Brighton-Tottenham will get the team news when that's in before our next commentary at 5:30. Semedo for Wolves, down the line towards Adama Traore. Cucurella can't prevent the cross, which is caught by Kepa Arrizabalaga, all in green away towards our right-hand side. But you're right, Traore is seeing a lot more of the ball.
Yeah, they changed, they adapted. We talked about Chelsea adapting to, back three at one point during that first half, and it seemed to, create a lot of space. Well, they've come out in the second half, and it's a back three for Wolves, and Chelsea are playing it out, and they've got away with it.
It was a little bit nervy with Jorginho to Kepa and Kepa to Chalobah, but they have got away with it. As now is Jorginho on the halfway line, forward towards Gallagher, able to turn. They work it out towards the right-hand side. What about Bournemouth, Leicester City? Jonathan Overend.
Well, it's still Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1, but Bournemouth enjoying their best period of possession in the first 15 minutes of this second half. Chance from a corner, which was only half cleared, fell to Mepham on the volley, left-footed over the bar. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 1.
Referee Simon Hooper has played the advantage. There was a foul on Mason Mount, but he lets play continue with Loftus-Cheek. MK Dons are down to 10 men. Dawson Devoy has been sent off as they trail 2-1 at Shrewsbury. No other goals elsewhere around the country, with Chelsea here leading by 2-0. The Japanese Grand Prix live at 6 in the morning on 5 Live. 5 Live's Premier League Sunday from midday. We'll have news of that Euro 2024 qualifying draw from Frankfurt with John Murray, and then we've got West Ham Fulham at 2, Arsenal Liverpool at 4:30, and Dean Smith will be on the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman and co from 7 o'clock, as Stevenage have got a second goal at home to Swindon. Stevenage 2, Swindon 0. You would think that would be all 9 games won at home this season for Steve Evans' side. And the goals continue to go in at Wrexham, who now lead Barnet 5-3. Here is Hwang. Mateus to Podence in the penalty area. Good block by Cucurella. Comes out towards Mateus, edge of the area, challenged by Jorginho. They have had chances in this second half, Wolves.
Played so much better. I mean, I was really disappointed in Wolves in that first half, but they just look a more comfortable team when they play with a back three. They've got a little bit more time in midfield, and it pushes the wide players, particularly Traore, much further up the park. Instead of him getting it 70 yards from goal, he's getting it from 30 yards from goal, and he's much more dangerous there.
Chelsea, who are unbeaten at Stamford Bridge against Wolves in 11 matches here at home in all competitions since 1979, when John Richards and Billy Rafferty were on the score sheet for Wolverhampton Wanderers. For John Bonwell's side, Chelsea then were managed by Danny Blanchflower. They were actually relegated to the old second divisions in that season. Adama Traore back towards Podence. Wolves still in the game at 2-0 down, still looking for a way back. But is there any way back for Southampton? There's been another goal at the Etihad, Maz Faruqi.
And he's finally on the score sheet. Erling Haaland has his first of the afternoon. City's fourth. He lashed it into the bottom left-hand corner after some, again, nice work from Cancelo down the left. City 4, Southampton 0.
It would be a major shock if he wasn't on the score sheet, Erling Haaland. I mean, it's just been incredible.
The incredible is a word. I mean, we often use phrases like that, and it's it's hyperbole, but it's not with him. It's quite ridiculous. And I've taken to asking various players from various generations, have you ever seen anything like it? And I mean generations long before even mine. No one can actually name one who is anything like him. The physical specimen, the fact that he's got everything you want with that ridiculous pace, eye for a goal, you name it. It's extraordinary.
That's his 20th goal of the season, Erling Haaland, as Manchester City leads Southampton by 4-0. Chelsea are making a change. Loftus-Cheek is going to be coming off, and it's going to be Kovacic, because the games come thick and fast for Chelsea. Milan away on Tuesday, Aston Villa away, Brentford away before they play Manchester United here on the 22nd of October. And thankfully, finally for the supporters, a kick-off time was at last confirmed only yesterday for that game on the 22nd of October.
So painful to go through that for the supporters, How can you organise if you don't live in London? Time to get there, says a man who was trying to organise getting down from Scotland for that game.
Yeah, and having to wait. But yeah, eventually 5:30 they've decided that game here, the next time that Chelsea are in action at Stamford Bridge on the 22nd, only confirmed yesterday. So Loftus-Cheek is off, Kovacic is on. He'd made the 7 changes, had Graham Potter with Milan in mind. Port Vale are now leading at Derby by 2-1. Blackburn Rovers are leading Rotherham by 2-0. Morecambe 1, Ipswich 2 is the latest score in League One, and there's been a goal at Bournemouth. Jonathan Overend.
First goal they've been able to celebrate here since the opening day of the season. Bournemouth 1, Leicester 1. Excellent work from Dominic Solanke inside right channel. His shot was blocked. It fell to Philip Billing, and on the volley he screamed it into the top corner. Bournemouth 1, Leicester 1.
Doing an excellent job, Gary O'Neill. That could take Bournemouth unbeaten in 5. Featured game is in League One. It's at Plymouth. Hamish Marshall.
The leaders, Plymouth, have extended their advances to 2-0 over Accrington Stanley. Sam Kilsgrove from a tight angle on the right-hand side. His 3rd goal in 3 games. Plymouth 2, Accrington 0.
And in League 2, Ellen Ellard is watching Northampton Salford.
Northampton 0, Salford 1. The home side now looking increasingly frustrated as 2 big chances have gone amiss, and Salford are just smothering any attacking runs from the hosts. Ethan Galbraith's goal still the only shot on target for Salford, and they lead here at Sixfield. Northampton 0, Salford 1.
We're midway through the second half. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service, and it is Chelsea who are leading by 2-0. It's a scoreline that would take them 4th. Brighton, in fact, would drop to 6th in the table, with Newcastle United leading Brentford 3-1 at St James's Park. Manchester City 4-0 up at home to Southampton, and Bournemouth 1, Leicester City 1 is that latest score. As here is Havertz, Gallagher running on the outside of him, on that far side, the right, playing from right to left, as Havertz now cuts inside towards Mason Mount. The interception from Moutinho. And Wolverhampton Wanderers may well be drawing yet another blank, as though Kepa head out of his penalty area and then just jumped into the challenge with Podence and took it away from Daniel Podence.
I have to say, he's got it there, he's got it clean. It's still a mistake. He shouldn't be out there. It's right on the byline. He's timed it, but with only a millimetre to spare. That's the first, I would say, error that I've watched Kepa make in the period of time that he's in goal since he replaced Mendy.
Reece James is going to be coming on for Chelsea. Pat, you'll be pleased to know that Hibs are leading Motherwell by 1-0. Celtic earlier through Giacomakis with a 95th minute winner in Perth. St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2. Rangers, though, have responded. So Celtic's lead will be cut to 2 points, with Rangers still leading 2-0 against St Mirren at Ibrox. We will be live at Ibrox on Wednesday. Rangers Liverpool in the Champions League here on 5 Live, after we've been in the San Siro 24 hours previously. Wolves are going to be making another change. Traore. There's a little step over, looks to go on the outside of Pulisic, and then it comes towards Hwang. Took a deflection off the knee of Cucurella, and Hwang's right-footed effort falling backwards down into the ground, easily saved by Kepa.
Yeah, and it's the amount of times he's got crosses on now, and Cucurella is trying to play against the and trying to stop those crosses coming in, but he's not having a lot of success in stopping them. And I just wonder if Graham Potter's looking at it thinking, well, wait a minute, if there's any danger, it's in this left back area of Chelsea's it's coming from Traore. Does he want to make a change there? Will it be a personnel change, or will it be a system change? Because I say just about the only concern they've got is that one at the moment, Chelsea.
Former Chelsea player Pat Nevin, who's with us here at Stamford Bridge, and it's going to be a double change for Chelsea. Broja and James to come on. Back to Bournemouth, another goal. Jonathan Overend.
Bournemouth have turned it around and they lead Leicester by 2-1. 2 goals in close succession, and this time it's Ryan Christie on the score sheet. It was their first really fast break on the counter-attack of the afternoon from Bournemouth. Cross from the right from Fredericks, half cleared, and Christie has turned it in. Bournemouth 2, Leicester 1.
Bill Foley is in attendance there today. and I'm sure he'll be very, very impressed with the work that Gary O'Neill has been doing. He was at the training ground earlier in the week, and certainly to come from behind there after Leicester City, who got their first win of the campaign against Nottingham Forest, that will be a good scoreline for Bournemouth. Wrexham 7, Barnet 3 in the National League. We're going to have changes galore here, as first of all, the changes for Wolverhampton, for Chelsea, who are coming on. So you've got Broja, who's coming on. Johnny has gone off for Aït-Nouri. So that is one change for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And whilst these changes take place, let's get the team news. And who won the golf at the Amex? Alistair Bruce Ball.
Yeah, we'll deal with that one in a little bit. Ian, the team news for you. Bright sunshine at Brighton. They're unchanged after that hugely impressive performance at Anfield last week in Roberto De Zerbi's first game in charge. 4 changes for Tottenham, though, from the goalless draw against Frankfurt in midweek. And Matt Doherty gets a first start of the season at right back. Emerson Royale suspended. Sessegnon in for Perisic. Davis in for Longley at left-sided centre-back. And Yves Bissouma starts against his former club, with Richarlison also dropping to the bench. Kane and Son up front.
Keeping us in suspense, let's find out what that dynamic's like between the two golfers, Messrs Bruce Ball and Pulis, for that commentary game after Sports Report. So Chem Campbell has come on for Traore, and Aït-Nouri has come on for Johnny. They were the two changes to be made by Wolverhampton Wanderers. Broja has come on as the cross comes in from Campbell. There was a push there though on James by Podence. And it was James for Pulisic and Broja for the very impressive Mason Mount.
I think if you're taken off at this point in the game, I think that's the manager resting you, almost certainly, for the big one in the San Siro coming up. Chelsea have got themselves back in a dangerous position. Had they lost against Milan during the week there were a good chance they'd have gone out and not gone through. However, that group's wide open.
It is wide open.
They now have to make sure they don't lose against Milan. So they're resting some very important players now.
Yep, they were making the 7 changes with that in mind. Talking of the Champions League, that was a late one. Hodge and referee Simon Hoopish is going to come across, and the debutant for Wolves, well, he's walked away. The referee's just checking, just fractionally late.
Was he late, or was he going for a ball and it's just the follow through? And it's one of those tricky ones. The referee looks comfortable that there's a follow-through. Maybe he's waiting for a little bit of
was Azpilicueta the player?
No,
you're right.
Wrong.
You're right. You were right, Pat, as always.
Just the way the referee walks away there, I thought, no, he's comfortable that Hodge has done nothing wrong there. And there was no complaints from any Chelsea players either. So the body language gave it away.
Straight to Ibrox, Conor McLaughlin.
Rangers 3, St Mirren 0, and what a goal. Antonio Cholak with his 13th of the season, and it was lovely. He showed strength and power to shrug off the Saints defence and hit the ball just with the outside of his foot, and it swerved past Trevor Carson in the Saints goal. It is Rangers 3, St Mirren 0.
Wigan still yet to win at home, and they're now 2-0 down in the Championship at home to Cardiff City. Carlisle have turned it around. It's Hartlepool 1, Carlisle United 2. Burton have equalised at London Road in League 1. Peterborough 1, Burton 1. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. Chelsea here still lead Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-0 with under 16 minutes remaining on BBC Radio 5 Live. What about Newcastle Brentford? Tom Gale.
It's still Newcastle 3, Brentford 1, Ian, but somehow Callum Wilson hasn't found his name on the score sheet. Pinball in the box. It forced the striker on the penalty spot. He fired wide. Newcastle 3, Brentford 1.
15 minutes remaining then. Cucurella, that second goal, before you were talking about the jeopardy in the game, that second goal has completely eased that from a Chelsea point of view.
I wouldn't say it's completely killed it, but you're right, it's eased it. Eased it is the correct word. A third one would finish it off completely as Chelsea try and get that now.
And this is James on the edge of the area, goes on the outside of Aït-Nouri, held up a little bit, forced out of the penalty area on that right-hand side. Snapping at his heels, Livingston 0, Ross County 1 is a latest score in the Scottish Premiership, and it will be a decision that goes in favour of Wolves for a free kick deep inside their own half.
You know, you're really tempted when a manager makes a change and the system changes and it's really interesting, but the Chelsea manager probably makes changes every 15 minutes, and they're kind of easy to see. They're pretty easy to spot. It's a back three, it's a different back three now. It's a 3-4-2-1, and if you're a Chelsea player at the moment, you better be ready to adapt all the time.
Broja putting pressure on Kilman, who holds him off, back towards Jose Sarr. Totti on that far side, passes the ball too far ahead of Aït-Nouri. Graham Potter, this his first Premier League home match here at Stamford Bridge. None of the last 14 Chelsea managers have actually lost their first home league game, going all the way back to when Graham Ricks and Ray Wilkins were actually in caretaker charge against Leicester City in the year 2000. Although the last two had dropped points at home, Lampard and Thomas Tuchel in a goalless draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers when it was 0-0. Wolves, who are still yet to score in the second half this season. And there's been another goal at Carrow Road in the Championship. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 2, Preston North End 2. Tamer Pukki down the left-hand side, works it into the box. There's Gabriel Sara to smash the ball past the goalkeeper. Game on here. Norwich 2, Preston North End 2.
In the Premier League, it is all the home teams who are leading. Bournemouth, Manchester City, Newcastle and Chelsea. Here is Jorginho.
They've strangled the life out of this game, haven't they, Chelsea? You know, when they had to slow it down, they've slowed it down. I mean, little 10-15 minute spurt at the start of this second half. Chelsea just adapted it a little bit and then killed the space there. And when eventually Adama Traore went off, that just seemed to limit any opportunities that Wolves have made since then.
Doncaster have equalised at home to Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient been pegged back there in South Yorkshire, and Blackburn Rovers are leading Rotherham 3-0 in the Championship as the ball is hit downfield. Chalobah and Koulibaly run into each other. Chalobah's actually fallen rather awkwardly and has stayed down. Kepa might, in fact, referee's going to stop play here. Referee Simon Hooper. Chelsea leading by 2-0 with just over 10 minutes remaining. Let's go back to the Etihad. Maz Farouki.
Good chance for Grealish just now. He's on as a second half triple substitution for City. De Bruyne, Mahrez, Cancelo all off. Palmer, Alvarez and Gomez on. Earlier Foden replaced by Grealish. Lewis is also on for Silva. So 5 changes in all for City. Guardiola with an eye on a busy week ahead. Still City 4, Southampton 0.
Newcastle United looking to extend their unbeaten run at St James's Park to 6 games. They're at home to Brentford. Tom Gale.
And they are still leading by 3-1, Ian, and it won't be a hat-trick for Bruno Guimaraes. He's gone off substitute, he's walked around the whole of the ground, applauded as he went off. On comes Alan Saint-Maximin. It's Newcastle 3, Brentford 1.
This is Campbell inside to Moutinho. His forward ball quickly closed down and it goes for a throw.
That walk round the ground's obviously catching on. You know, he's walked round the ground there just the way Diego Costa did. Do you know what? Watching Diego Costa there, the time it took him to go off, you feel like New Zealand in black in that time. It's ridiculous.
Campbell has just picked up he's still grimacing and hobbling a little bit there, is Chem Campbell, the substitute. Thing is, they've used their 3 substitutions, or their 3 opportunities, I think, haven't they now? They didn't actually fill their entire bench, such as the limited options for them. As Broja turns to Kovacic. Now it's comfortable, it feels, for Chelsea with just over 10 minutes remaining. Cucurella with a cross into the penalty area. Havertz lurking, cleared away by Totti, headed back then by Jorginho, and it's with Campbell, who plays it up to Hodge. Hodge inside. Moutinho waits for the run of Semedo. Forward then to Campbell. Koulibaly, though, dispossesses him. Koulibaly seized his moment inside to Gallagher. He's going to shoot from distance. And it was always going over the top for a goal kick. Still Chelsea 2 up.
Well, considering his goal that he scored when he came on against Crystal Palace, you understand why Conor Gallagher had a bit of a go from there. Didn't manage to get it on target there, but lovely play by Koulibaly. He's came on, really leaps and bounds in this second half. He's done a couple of decent things, won a couple of tackles, managed to hit his own player once, and on top of that, that was could have been an assist for him. So he's had one of his better days for Chelsea since he arrived.
Let's run through the scores then elsewhere. The result in the Scottish Premiership earlier was St Johnstone 1, Celtic 2. Rangers in response are leading St Mirren by 3-0 at Ibrox, so Celtic's lead is back to 2 points. Hibs still 1-0 up against the 10 men of Motherwell. Livingston 0, Ross County 1. Dundee United Aberdeen kicks off at 6 o'clock at Tannadice. We've got League 2, League 1 and the Championship to come with latest scores here on BBC Radio 5 Live, as there's now been another goal at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
This is incredible, Ian. It's Norwich 2, Preston North End 3. I'm pretty sure the goal's been given. Troy Parrott, edge of the area, he's just picked the ball up, been played through into the box. He's lashed the ball towards goal. It's taken deflection off of Tim Krul and rolled into the back of the net. Troy Parrott's run away, and I think he's done his hamstring. He's on the ground, laid down. It is Norwich 2, Preston North End 3. We'll have more in a minute.
Let's go straight at St James's Park. Another goal, Tom Gale.
Newcastle 4, Brentford 1, and another defensive error. This time Ethan Pinnock tries to play it back to his keeper, too loose with it. Up steps Miguel Almiron, rounds the goalkeeper, slots home his 4th of the season to equal his best ever campaign. Newcastle 4, Brentford 1.
Wolves keeping the ball. Semedo is sent away on this right hand side. Koulibaly comes across, out it goes for a Wolves throw. Back to the Hawthorns, Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0 here, but Luton are proving obdurate opponents. They nearly scored when Adebayo's deflected shot was acrobatically tipped over the bar by Palmer. At the other end, Wallace for West Brom, 25 yards out, just wide. It's really tense and tight here. It's West Brom 0, Luton 0.
West Brom would be without a win in 9 if it was to stay like that. 2-0 to Chelsea. Havertz loses the ball. Semedo hoisted on the inside, running forward, and then caught was Aït-Nouri. He's left a gap now that maybe Chelsea can exploit over on that far side. The Chelsea right, the Wolves left. Reece James caught, free kick. It was a foul by Mateus. Chelsea free kick. Pat.
It's incredible to watch Reece James, isn't he? You know, when he's on the ball there, he actually in the end had 3 players around him there. He had the wherewithal, the knowledge and the spatial awareness to understand, okay, I'm in a jam here, I'll just keep the ball close to me, nice little trick in the turn, win a free kick. Super play.
Steve Davis down below. What is he now? 57 years of age. You might remember him as a defender with Crewe, Burnley or Barnsley. He actually managed Crewe for 6 seasons, so he's certainly no novice down there on the touchline, supported by James Collins as his side. A 2-0 down here at Stamford Bridge. Hartlepool 1, Carlisle 3 is the latest score as Kovacic looks for a ball in the midfield, the central area to Broja, and eventually it's picked up by Jose Sarr. Wrexham 7, Barnet 4 in an absolute bonkers game, and Birmingham 3, Bristol City 0, a latest score in the Championship. But it feels rather sedate here at Stamford Bridge.
In comparison to a 7-4, yes, it probably does. You're right about bonkers. I think an 11-goal game is the biggest I ever played in. You don't often get that.
And where was that?
Motherwell 5, Aberdeen 6. Now that was 11 goals. The worrying thing is, the goalkeepers on the day were Andy Gorham and Jim Leighton, the 2 best goalkeepers in Scotland.
Wolves with Aït-Nouri, far side the left. Pat Nevin with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. The latest scores in League 2. Barrow 0, Mansfield 1. Nigel Clough's side could be a 4th straight win away from home. Bradford City's 7-match unbeaten run could be coming to an end as they still trail at home to Stockport County by 1-0. Colchester United 2, Harrogate 1. Harrogate without a win in 9 before today. Crewe 1, Gillingham 1. Doncaster Rovers 1, Leyton Orient 1. Grimsby 2, Crawley 0. Hartlepool 1, Crawley 3, Newport County 0, Rochdale 1, Northampton 0, Salford 1. Stevenage will be going top as it stands. They lead Swindon Town by 2-0. Sutton United 0, Tranmere Rovers 2, Walsall 2, Wimbledon 1. I'll run through League 1 and the Championship here on 5 Live. Sports report coming up, 5 minutes of normal time remaining. Koulibaly underneath that ball to clear it away on the full to Jorginho. Nice little layoff to Kovacic, and the ball is played out to Cucurella. And those 7 changes now that Graham Potter made, he'll feel vindicated with one eye on Milan on Tuesday.
To be fair, you know, he makes those 7 changes, then he makes all his changes, you know, the substitutions now. They don't look in any way weaker. You know, that's the one thing that Chelsea have got just now. They can make 6, 7, 8, 9 changes, and they don't really weaken the side noticeably. So he'll be happy about that. I don't think many Chelsea fans were over concerned by the amount of changes they made from the midweek there. They understand it. What they wanted was a cool, quiet day, and that's what they've got. In fact, they'll be able to make another couple of substitutions.
Yes, and we are going to be having a debut here for Carney Chukwuemeka, who the He's going to turn 19 later this month. They signed him for £18 million from Aston Villa on a 6-year deal. So he's been an unused substitute on 4 occasions this season, but he's coming on for his Chelsea debut. And it's Hakim Ziyech who has also come on to the field of play. But he refused to sign a new deal at Villa Park with about 12 months left of his contract. He's a central midfielder. He'd been linked with Barcelona and Milan and Dortmund. So he is coming on, the teenager, for his Chelsea debut with 4 minutes remaining. And once again, I was struck by what Matt Upson had said about the strength and depth that Graham Potter has at his disposal, and it's been certainly illustrated once more now with Ziyech coming on for Havertz. And it's Gallagher who made way for Chukwuemeka.
Yeah, I mean, a huge amount of depth of talent there. And if you think about Ziyech, he was a huge buy when he came into Chelsea. Maybe it's not worked out quite as well as he would have hoped, but I mean, he is so far down the pecking order now. And you add Chukwuemeka to that as well. That is a massive, massive number of players they've got in that midfield.
Latest scores in League One as the ball is chipped out by Kepa to Cucurella, plays it forward. Chukwuemeka picks up on this ball now. He's got a lot of space to run into. He's got pace as well. He's already quickly over the halfway line. He passes the ball then to Cucurella, level with the penalty area on this near side, the left, comes on the inside of Campbell, passes the ball to the edge of the area, and to break up the play was Moutinho. Chelsea will press to try and win it back, and the ball will run out of play for a throw. So Barnsley 0, Exeter 2 in League One. Other latest scores: Bristol Rovers 2, Cambridge 1. Derby County, who are now down to 10 men. Derby 1, Port Vale 2. Forest Green 1, Bolton 0. Lincoln and Charlton is still goalless at Sincilbank. Morecambe 1, Ipswich Town 2. Ipswich coming from behind as they look to keep up the pressure on the leaders Plymouth. Oxford 0, Wycombe 1 is a latest score as well. Peterborough 1, Burton 1. Plymouth 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Both are down to 10 men. Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood 1. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Cheltenham 0. And Shrewsbury Town still leading MK Dons 2-1 as Ziyech tries to get the ball through towards Browier, looking to open up his Chelsea account. Too far ahead of him, and it's picked up by Jose Sarr. We have 2 minutes remaining. Championship scores now to come. Birmingham 3, Bristol City 0. Blackburn lead Rotherham by the same scoreline. 3-0 at Ewood Park. Campbell trying to get away from Koulibaly. The two of them almost holding hands there as Koulibaly gets the block in, and it goes out of play for a throw. Blackpool 2, Watford 1. Coventry 0, Burnley 1. Millwall 2, Middlesbrough 0. Middlesbrough still yet to win away from home this season. Norwich 2, Preston North End 3. That could be the end of Norwich's unbeaten 10-match run. Stoke 2, Sheffield United 1, Swansea 2, Sunderland 1, West Brom 0, Luton 0, and Wigan Athletic, still yet to win at home this season, are 2-0 down to Cardiff City. And we have 60 seconds or so remaining, Pat.
Yeah. You need a little bit of a rest now and again. And quite a few players have managed to get that. A nice, easy trot to the end. Don't think that's happening in Newcastle, is it?
Well, the home comforts in the Premier League. Bournemouth 2-1 up against Leicester. Chelsea 2-0 up here against Wolverhampton Wanderers as Browier in the penalty area. What a fine goal! Armando Browier with his first Chelsea goal. Low, right-footed, unerring, bottom right-hand corner. Chelsea seal the 3 points with their third goal, and Browier opens his Chelsea account.
You know, that's an important one for him. These Chelsea fans love Browier because he comes on and he puts so much effort. He's selfless, but he's also a target man as well. A lot of people are asking about Aubameyang, etc. Do not write off Browier. I think he's got a big, big future. It may not be at Chelsea, but it might be. That was a great goal. However, there is a question of offside.
VAR will have a look at this potential offside. Meanwhile, Manchester City cruising, as are Newcastle United, Tom Gale.
Newcastle 5, Brentford 1, Ian, as we head into added time. Bad for worse for Ethan Pinnock. Fought for the 4th goal, an own goal for the 5th. Joe Linton drilled in the cross. He took it out of his own keeper's hands to tap in at the near post. Newcastle 5, Brentford 1.
this goal should stand. He was onside. Full time at Leicester, Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, Leicester 16, Sale 26. Sale remain unbeaten this season and they go top of the table with this bonus point win. Their tries from Tom Roebuck, Rob De Priya, Tom Curry and Rafi Quirk. Leicester have now lost 3 of their 5 matches this season. Full time, Leicester 16, Sale 26.
The goal stands, Pat.
Yeah, just saying about Broya. I mean, I think obviously he gives something different to Chelsea because his physique, you know, he will chase everything. He's got brilliant energy levels. I think he's improving all the time as a player. And I think he's well liked. And Graham Potter, he's brought him in right away to give him chances.
Blackpool 3, Watford 1. Grimsby 3, Crawley 0. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Cheltenham 0. Just some of the latest scores elsewhere around the country. And on Wrexham Watch, it's Wrexham 7, Barnet 5. We're into
12 goals. Wow.
Added on time here.
What was it Mourinho used to call it? Hockey game?
Well, commentary to come after Sports Report from our next game, Brighton, Tottenham at 5:30. Tony Pulis and Alistair Bruce Ball. And then tomorrow we're at West Ham. And the game of the weekend, Arsenal against Liverpool. But here, Wolverhampton Wanderers, it would seem, are going to equal a Premier League record of going 9 games at the start of a campaign without scoring in the second half. There's been another goal at Ibrox, Connie McLaughlin.
And it was Fashion Sakala, he wrapped things up, but to be fair, the architect of that was James Tavernier. A pinpoint cross found Alfredo Morelos. He just managed to weave his way through, get the ball to Fashion Sakala, who all he had to do was hit the target, and he did just that, and he made it Rangers 4 at full time, St Mirren 0.
Thank you, Connie. Kelly Cates will be inside Ibrox on Wednesday. There's been a late goal in the Championship at Stoke. Lee Blakeman.
Stoke have won it. Stoke 3, Sheffield United 1, and Liam Delap, son of Rory, on loan from Manchester City, has got his first Stoke goal. Back-to-back defeats for the leaders. Stoke 3, Sheffield United 1.
Campbell close with a header for Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're in the third of the final of the 3 minutes of added on time, with Chelsea leading Wolves 3-0.
Just a little bit of concerning for Wolves fans. I mean, they had a little bit of a go for 10 or 15 minutes, and I know they're missing a lot of players, and it has been an injury crisis, but it hasn't looked like a well-structured, well-organised team just now. They've been too easy to break down. And to be fair, this is a Chelsea way, a huge amount of changes, playing in second gear.
Yeah.
Not much more than that, and they've managed to win it at a canter.
Wolves have drawn another blank, but Chelsea continue to go on under Graham Potter for what was a very comfortable win indeed. Wigan 1, Cardiff 2, Walsall